Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2022 Southeastern Extreme Conference Football Championship. On behalf of the SEEC and 8-Man Extreme, we thank you for attending at Zion Christian Academy in Columbia, Tennessee, and tuning in on YouTube to join us in celebrating a great season of athletic excellence. Heading to the center of the field now are the captains for tonight's contest.
You got the camera on the coin toss?
Yeah.
You want me to say anything in regard to welcoming everyone because they didn't hear what he just said?
Will I be able to hear you in these?
Let me check on
Spencer.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2022 Southeastern Extreme Conference Football Championship. On behalf of the Southeastern Extreme Conference and 8-Man Extreme, we thank you for attending at Zion Christian Academy in Columbia, Tennessee, and tuning in on YouTube to join us in celebrating a great first season and many more of athletic excellence. Let's meet the two teams participating in tonight's final contest of 2022. They finished the regular season as the number 2 seed with a 4-1 record in conference. Tonight's away team, the Tennessee Heat. They finished the regular season as the number 1 seed with a 10-0 overall record and 4-0 in the Southeastern Extreme Conference. Please welcome the Freedom Cowboys. At this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your caps, and we turn it over to our public dress announcer to begin with a word of prayer. Please remain standing for the playing of our national anthem. On this Saturday morning in Columbia, Tennessee, we welcome a new era of 8-man high school football. The Southeastern Extreme Conference, flip those around, or flip them whichever way you want. The South Extreme Eastern Conference, the Southeastern Extreme Conference, whatever it is you would like to do. As I believe our referee is calling for a chain crew, which is supposed to be provided by Zion Christian in some regard. And I believe they have people to operate the chains finally. But as mentioned, a new era in 8-man high school football. The Southeastern Extreme Conference has its first ever championship hosted at Zion Christian Academy. The Freedom Cowboys, not in a conference in their 15, 20-year history. First time ever competing in a conference championship. And the same for their counterpart, their opponent, the Tennessee Heat. The closest they've come to is the semifinals of the MTAC, now TSI AA, and now competing for their first conference championship. Welcome to everyone watching around the world. I'm Spencer Thompson alongside Eli Cornett. Proud to be with you in Columbia, Tennessee. And Eli, as a former player for Franklin Classical, you had a few matchups with these teams over the years, and to see them playing for a conference championship for the first time, it's got to be special knowing how tough it is to win against either of these football teams.
Oh, it's for sure special. These teams, they're two great teams, two great athletic teams. Like you said, had some battles with these two teams back in the day, great games. But also to go against these guys as a coach now is also a great thing as well. So
we start out with a touchback to kick off the championship, and the Tennessee Heat won the toss. They elected to defer, so the Freedom Cowboys on offense will start out, led by head coach Kyle Collins, his 17th season in the program's history. Much like last night with the Jacksonville Christian Thunder, the only head coach in their program's history. We talked to him before the game, throughout the years, just express how much he enjoys coaching and has no desire whatsoever to hang up the cap or retire because he just loves what he does.
Yeah, he's a go-getter. He's always – oh, it looks like we have a penalty here.
Start out with an encroachment to start out the contest.
Obviously not the way you want to start out the game, but –
Dead ball, false start.
Caught a little bit of the there. It's a false start called on the offense instead of a encroachment, so a 5-yard penalty to start out this contest. Yeah, Coach Collins is talking about no desire to hang up the cap. First offensive play is an incomplete pass, and the elements have cooled down a little bit here in Columbia. It was raining all the way leading up to kickoff. It started to dissipate about 15 minutes beforehand. We were talking with both coaches. Even Coach Ryan Scott mentioned it actually worked out this way because they were pass-centric at the beginning of the season, and now throughout the remainder it's been rush-heavy, so the elements played out in their favor.
Yeah, I was really surprised to hear him say that because, you have the all-conference running back in Aiden Luchtenfield. To hear him say they're going to pass the ball really surprised me, but he has all the athletes and receivers to do it.
2nd and 15 with motion on both sides. Fake the handoff at a keeper, and avoiding several tackles, finally brought down behind the line is Oliver Johnson. What a last several years he's had for the Freedom Cowboys. Seems like he's just involved in every bit of play for the independent program from Huntsville, Alabama.
Yeah, he's a great player. This offense is obviously surrounded by him. Oliver Johnson really leads this offense. It's all formed around him. And that's what you're going to get what you just saw there, that power read. You're going to get that throughout the day. He's run first, but he can also pass the ball really well.
So about a 3rd down and 16. Freedom Cowboys are getting stopped on offense to start out. Shovel pass, backside, open space here for TJ Lorio, who's also been a star in his own right. Takes about 4 Heat defenders to bring him down, and even then he still got a gain of about 10 yards there, short of the line to gain. But it just shows you how dangerous TJ Lorio could be as the game progresses.
And that's what the Freedom Cowboys are going to do. They're going to have TJ split out at the slot receiver. They're going to bring him or number 8 for the Freedom Cowboys. They'll motion him in as a running back. Could either be an option like you just saw there. Could be a power read as well.
Freedom Cowboys, for the most part, are known to go for it on 4th down. Looks like they will continue that trend.
Yeah, I would look out for a power read here.
4th and 2. A little bit of trickery, only a few yards to gain, and looks like he got it. Oliver Johnson moves the chains for a first.
Little trickery there from the Freedom Cowboys. Great design. Freedom Cowboys in a wing left set, twins left.
Johnson looking, catch is
Oh,
made.
what a great play.
Brought down just shy of the first down. That's Logan Bryers, the sophomore, gets the reception there. The Freedom Cowboys keep moving down the field.
And that's what Freedom's going to do. They're going to dink and dunk. They're going to dink and dunk, try to get the defense to play up on that run. They're going to take a bomb deep to either number 6 or number 20.
Gain of 9 yards after that catch and receiving yards.
Freedom in a twins right set.
2nd and 1. A scramble. Brought down behind the line of scrimmage.
Great play by the Heat there to get penetration through the line. That's what we're going to have to do. They're going to have to shut down Oliver Johnson. They can't let him get to the second level. That's the key to the game. Shut down number 9, and you'll have a great chance to win the game.
Joint tackle by Whitaker and Wogan. Jake Wogan on the year, 18 total tackles, 9 assists, make that 10.
The Heat's going with a 4-man front here, and that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to shut that running game down. You can't let Oliver Johnson get loose.
3rd down and 4. Johnson trying not to let him loose. Won't let him get there. Maybe a gain of a half a yard. Good tackle on the backside from Wyatt Sutton, who's also had a great year on defense. Brings up another 4th down, likely another time for the Freedom Cowboys to go for it.
Yeah, I would agree so. I mean, it's a championship game. You got a lot on the line here. First conference championship, potentially. You got to do what you got to do to win this game.
Saw a lot of these similarities last night for Russell Christian.
Expect Oliver Johnson to get the ball here.
Johnson yet again. He could get yards when you need it. And another first down to move the chains to the 46.
Another great play by Freedom. That's what you're going to get. You're going to get that power read, like I said a few minutes ago. You're also going to get the quarterback lead where those both guards will pull to the second level, knock out those Heat linebackers, and essentially get 3 to 4 yards each play. That's their MO right there.
Although the statistics are not public for the Freedom Cowboys, you can pretty much tell once you start into the flow of a game which ones are the standouts. Oliver Johnson being a key part of this offense as he's showing there again. Up the middle for a gain of a couple yards.
That's what you're going to have to do. Like I just said, the Heat, you're going to have to get to the quarterback. Great play by the D-line and great job by their linebackers filling their gaps and doing their job and shutting down Oliver Johnson.
Heat defense trying to make a stop. Already allowed 2 4th down conversions. Johnson hands it off. Lorio. It's TJ Lorio again. Gain of about 10.
Just a great play there. TJ Laurie, senior, great player for the Freedom Cowboys. He's been there a long time. Paid his dues. He's done really well this year.
Another set of downs in Heat territory. There's a carry again. This time they give it off to Tristan Martone. Large senior class for the Freedom Cowboys this year. Talking with several of the several of the parents with the Freedom Cowboys prior to the game said they've got a large graduating senior class, so it'll be tough to replace them. Seems like almost every year Freedom Cowboys are so good at getting in key guys and training up their underclassmen to fill in those gaps.
Yeah.
But it's been fun to see guys like Martone and Lorio behind the ball.
Yeah, and that's what you're going to get when you have a veteran coaching staff like the Freedom Cowboys. They're going to go out and go find those key guys that you need to win a championship.
4-yard gain on the rush by Martone for a 2nd and 6. Johnson.
I'll look for the bomb here.
Going to air it out wide open on the right side. The catch made by Gavin
They
Maynard.
called him down.
But they rule it incomplete.
Well, I don't know about that one. It certainly looked like he caught it. I just thought his knee was down. Certainly looked like he caught it.
You see the replay here. It's bang, bang in real time there. It's tough to tell from this angle. Officials right there had the best view on it. It's possible it hit the ground before he retained full possession, or at least it's what the officials ruled there.
That play is exactly what the Freedom's going to do. They're going to pound the ball down your throat, and then they're going to take a shot deep. And as you can see, number 6 was wide open for the Freedom Cowboys. That's what they're going to try to do, try to get you play in tight and throw it over your head.
And flag called.
Dead ball, false start on offense, 5-yard penalty.
Looks like that was on number 14 right there.
So they call that penalty on the offense's Jalen Venter, a freshman. So they bring it back to the 40-yard line for about a 3rd and 12.
Like you said earlier, Spencer, the Freedom Cowboys also they always have a large senior class, but they have a lot of young guys that have always stepped up and done really well for them as well.
Large, in-depth roster. They are very junior-heavy this year as well. A lot of upperclassmen.
Looks like Heat's going with a 2-3-2 set, or 2-3-3.
Johnson.
There you
Deep
go.
downfield in coverage with 3 guys.
Picked off.
Intercepted. Intercepted by Aiden Luchtefeld. Was waiting for the right time to mention him, but of course he shows up, and Aiden Luchtefeld, one of many reasons the Tennessee Heat are great on defense.
Well, like we said earlier, Luchtenfeld's a great player, not just on the offense side of the ball, but also on the defense side of the ball. He read that like a book. He saw that Johnson was going back for the pass, came over from safety spot and jumped the ball.
Now the Tennessee Heat will take over. A much-needed stop earlier on in this game. And for Aiden Luchtefeld on the year, been incredible on many different sides, but for at least Luchtefeld this year, that is interception number 2. And at a crucial moment, so here's a rush for a gain of about 10 yards plus. Great rush there by Luke Matthews, the sophomore.
And I feel like that's that's what the Heat's going to do. They're going to try to use Luchtenfeld not just to get him the ball, but also use him as a decoy, because all Freedom's attention is going to be on Luchtenfeld because he's such a great player for the Heat.
Tennessee Heat, as mentioned, their first ever time competing in a conference championship, and closest they come is in the semifinals. This is their first season that they've been in a conference since leaving then MTAC, now TSIAA, in 2019. Carry on the right side. Gain of about maybe 9 yards. See where they spot him.
Yeah, he looked a little short there.
Good carry there by Wyatt Sutton, the freshman, who's also had a great year in his own right. He's had 35 carries for 135 yards, 4 rushing touchdowns. Put in some work on the offensive and defensive side, but the freshman, one of those, I'm not sure if utility player is the right word, but one of those who could be used in so many different situations.
Yeah, he's a guy that Coach Scott's probably wanting to develop to get him acclimated into the program and into the role. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see him in a larger role next year.
Who else but Luchtefeld to get it, trying to weave out of the tackle, staying on his feet down across the 50-yard line. Luchtefeld has been so incredible to watch. We asked Coach beforehand. Now there is an injured Heat player on the ground.
Injury timeout.
Trying to see which Tennessee Heat player is injured there. Medical staff quickly to come over there. And we will step aside while the medical staff attend to injured Heat player. Good news is the injured Tennessee Heat player is back over on the sideline. Medical staff are looking to him, and it resumes 1st and 10 across midfield for the Heat, thanks to a big gain by Aiden Luchtefeld. As a toss left side, catch is made. Wyatt Sutton at least tried to get the catch there, incomplete through the hands, which is going to be a big factor in the rain here. But Aiden Luchtefeld, what else can you really say about this guy? I mean, he's the big reason why the Tennessee Heat are in the position that they are. And we asked Coach Scott before the game, what is it like being his head coach and being just a part of this greatness? And he mentioned it's an honor, and it's been great to see him grow over the years into the star player.
Yeah, what can you say? The dude's just a baller. I mean, he's everything what you want. Oh, looks like a fumble.
And ball loose in the backfield. Good awareness, fallen on by Luke Matthews. And again, that's where it's tough in these wet conditions because you have those gloves with the adhesive with water on it. Not going to make too much of a difference.
Yeah, the key to this game for both teams in these wet conditions is execution. You got to get your snaps right. The quarterback has to handle the snap and get the play rolling.
And we've seen some of these situations before with the Tennessee Heat where early on in the game made some mistakes, try to recover from it, and they're almost playing catch-up. Sure, Coach Scott and company are talking about the excess need to make sure to correct these early and not play catch-up during the game. As they face about 1/3 and 1/4 of the field. And movement there for the false start.
Dead ball, false start on the offense, 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down.
I couldn't tell if that was a false start or some sort of motion.
Just makes the line to gain farther away for Tennessee Heat.
Looks like Freedom's about to come after him. Yep, they're bringing 4. Throwback.
Motion incomplete. Pass intended for Wyatt Sutton. As now a 4th down and long, this big of a deficit, you'll see the Tennessee Heat punt it.
Yeah, that's what you have to do. Play it safe. Don't take any risks that may backfire you later in the game.
Fourth down and long. As that punt bounces all the way to about the 17-yard line. .205 left to go in the first quarter of this inaugural Southeastern Extreme Conference Championship. And so far, no score through almost 12 minutes. As the Freedom Cowboys start out on offense yet again from deep in their own territory as Oliver Johnson takes a carry of about 1 yard for 2nd and 9. And for the Freedom Cowboys, since November 6th, 2020, the Tennessee Heat, the only team to deal a loss to Freedom other than the times that the Cowboys have faced the Evangel Lightning.
Yeah, that's a crazy stat. And they have a chance to beat them again today and be SEEC champions. So see if they can get it done today.
As the wind begins to pick up in Columbia. Carry TJ Lorio tries to spin out a tackle. Who else but Luchtefeld to stop him?
Man, I tell you, man, that kid is special. On both sides of the ball, coming up and laying that hit.
I told you last night you were right and I was wrong. This brings up a 3rd down.
Looks like a 3rd and 7. I would expect some sort of short pass, some sort of dink and dunk here for the Freedom Cowboys.
40 seconds left in the first quarter. 3rd down. Toss left side, Lorio. Defense trying to get to him and finally brought down from behind. And that will, they do stop it for a 1st down. It may take us to the end of the first quarter, but he was tackled by Elijah Eakin, the 8th grader, who on the year has had 14 tackles, including 8 solo, and another set of downs for the Freedom Cowboys as we may go to the end of the first quarter with this. Or looks like the Cowboys might try to snap it or might get the heat to jump off as the final seconds wind down. Yeah, it doesn't look like they're going to snap it here. 12 minutes gone in the first ever championship of the Southeastern Extreme Conference. We are scoreless in Columbia. So we head to the second. Perfect time to tell you that the 2022 Southeastern Extreme Conference Championship is presented by Goolesby and Young. Jason Goolesby and J.D. Young of Blackwell Realty bring knowledge, passion, excellence, and experience to the table when it comes to real estate. With millions in sales this year already, the two would love the opportunity to put their skills to work for all of Middle Tennessee. Yes, you can buy. Yes, you can sell. And yes, they can help. Reach Jason Goolesby at 615-784-8687 and J.D. Young at 615-486-1121. Sponsored by Complete Wealth Management and Complete Real Estate, your one-stop shop for financial coaching and asset management. Fairlife Core Power Protein. Work hard, recover harder. Brett Atkinson with Weichert Realtors, the Realty Group. And by Sutton Pools. Fiberglass pools done right. You could reach Brian Sutton at 931-624-4027. Start of quarter number 2. Rain picking up here in Columbia, Tennessee at Zion Christian Academy. As there is another rush by Tristan Martone. Gets a gain of about 3 yards for a 2nd and 7. Spencer Thompson, Eli Cornett bringing you the action here from Columbia, Tennessee in a scoreless bout so far. And you can see a little bit in the background. The lights have been turned on even though it is 11 in the morning with the clouds blocking out some of the sun. And it's a nice temperature here in the press box right now. Hopefully it's not getting too chilly or too wet on the fields, even with the rain picking up. It's what we call classic football.
Yeah, hard-nosed defensive battle here.
As this is a carry, and who else but TJ Lorio to break open, and Luchtefeld touchdown saving tackle again. But TJ Lorio showing why he's such a pivotal member of this offense, as you see on the replay.
Just a great play there by TJ Lorio, just straight up the gut, hard-nosed football. Get a nice game for the Cowboys.
Again, Luchtefeld at the end there chasing him down, touchdown saving tackle. That's been a problem with the Tennessee Heat in the recent years with players, that they only had 1 or 2 guys who could chase down the tackle, and you just can't really depend on one person the entire time. As in the backfield, it's Martone brought down.
I think that was Luchtefeld.
Very well may have been Luchtefeld. It was either him or Aiden McDowell, the senior. Brought him down in the backfield, brings up about a 2nd and 13. Second down. There's another carry and a breakaway,
He gone.
and the first touchdown of the Southeastern Extreme Conference Championship history goes to the senior Tristan Martone from the Freedom Cowboys.
Great play by the Freedom Cowboys there. Just a straight up the gut play by the Cowboys. O-line did their job, knocked out the Heat defensive line. The line was able to get to the second level to the linebackers. That's why Tristan was able to pop that one.
Again, the Freedom Cowboys, it's been a while since they've had a field goal kicker. Known for going for 2-point conversions.
Yeah, sometimes like we saw it against us when we played them last week. Sometimes when they go 2-point, they'll go with a bunch set to the boundary, or they'll do this right here. They'll motion up, they'll motion 18 TJ Laurie, and they'll run sort of option or power. There it is.
And there it is, right up the left side. That's Oliver Johnson to get first 2-point conversion of this championship. 8-0 with 10-12 left to go in the first. The Freedom Cowboys strike first. Freedom Cowboys, first one to score this morning. Very rare you get one of these high school football games in the mornings. But it gives a lot of space. Early time before the college football window, especially with the very intense slate of matchups set up for this Saturday in, I believe, week 9 or week 10 in the college football scene.
Yeah, we obviously got Alabama LSU tonight, but to kick off the 2:30 slate, we got Tennessee Alabama. That's Tennessee Georgia, and that's going to be a great game for the SEC East.
As this is held kickoff with the wind, and this will bounce out of bounds before it goes to there. Sometimes we get the penalty announcements for the free kick out of bounds. No microphone on there, and brings us to a first down. They will spot it. At least they should. If it went out of bounds, it should be spotted at the 40. And yep, they're moving it up. Bring it up to the 35 with it being a 40. Actually, usually it's supposed to be at the 40-yard line.
Looks like they put it on the 35.
First and 10.
Interesting look from the Cowboys here.
And there's Luchtefeld trying to find the gap. Takes 3 Freedom Cowboys, about 2 1/3 for security. But even then, he still gets a gain of 8 yards.
But like we said earlier, Luchtenfeld's a great player for the Heat. He's going to get you 5-6 yards per carry, but also a great play.
Second and 2 as the Heat try to respond to that first score. In motion is Wyatt Sutton, and they fake it there. First down and 10.
Good hard-nosed running by the quarterback there.
And Luke Matthews carrying again, and he's had a bit of a average year. Been tough. 12 passing touchdowns, 9 interceptions, a 74.6 QBR. He's passed for 1,283 yards. And it's been tough, at least for him on the quarterbacking realm. But he's been able to supplement that with handing off the ball to Luchtefeld or getting it to him.
Yeah, it's been an up and down year for Matthews. You know, I mean, playing 3 or 4 11-man games, getting used to that type of atmosphere and that type of style of play is certainly hard, but also a great year for.
Trick play by Luchtefeld up top, and the catch made by Dustin Danilitis, and gets to about the 22-yard line. How about that trickery from Ryan Scott?
What a great design play by Ryan Scott. Looked like a little pop pass there from number 7.
You always see some type of trick play worked up by the Tennessee Heat now and then, and that one works out graciously for them to get to the 22-yard line.
And that's what you're going to get. I mean, that's what you have to do. Freedom's going to be keen on number 7 all night.
And it's a flag there for false start.
Dead ball, encroachment on the defense, 5-yard penalty.
But yeah, like I was saying, that's what the Heat have to do. They're going to be keying on Aiden Luchtenfeld, and just for him to get the ball and busted coverage by Freedom. So that's what we're going to have to do. They're going to have to get the Freedom defense away from number 7 to open up the passing game or running game for any other guys.
Wynn picking up again. Fake the handoff from Luchtefeld. Matthews avoiding the tackle. Luke Matthews for the touchdown.
What a great play there by Luke Matthews, running over a Freedom defender, getting into the end zone. We got a ball here, Spencer. We got a ball game.
Two-point conversion attempt coming up. I believe the Tennessee Heat could go for the option on the extra point. Problem is, with the heavy winds right now, one of those difficult challenges to try and go for PATs.
Yeah, I would say with the win here, it's not well, they're going for a 2-point. Not likely to kick a field goal here. They are capable of kicking a field goal, and surprisingly, Aiden Luchtenfeld's their kicker as well. Like we said, that kid can do it all.
Swap sides there. In motion, encroachment.
That's what the Heat like to do. They like to do a lot of motion there.
Dead ball, encroachment on the defense, half the distance.
Like I was saying, that's what what the Heat like to do. They like to run that motion to get the defense off balance, and that's exactly what they accomplished here.
Get a little bit farther as the ball is way back, and in high school, can't return it for 2 points. But the 2-point conversion attempt is no good, so the Freedom Cowboys retain the lead with 8:21 left to go in the first half. But the Tennessee Heat do respond. Kicked off by the Tennessee Heat. Attempted return here by TJ Lorio. Has got an edge on the outside, trying to get through tackles. Luchtefeld finally brings him down, but at the 38-yard line, TJ Lorio with a dangerous kickoff return.
Great starting field position by the Freedom Cowboys. TJ Lorio, what a great player for the Freedom Cowboys. You got to get your guys the ball, and that was a great play by the Cowboys.
First and 10 as the Freedom Cowboys now recognizing they need to have better field advantage if they want to stay in this competition. They hand it off once again, swallowed by the defensive line. Looks like it'll be called for forward progress with maybe a half-yard gain there, second and long.
Great play by the Tennessee Heat defensive line. not let number 8 get any ground.
This year, both teams having several all SEC players. And of course, we mentioned the name several times, Oliver Johnson, Tristan Martone. For the Tennessee Heat, they have Luchtefeld, of course, Danilitis, who had that big play last drive.
There comes that power.
And there's that power again, Luchtefeld and company. Prevent another huge gain, brings it to a 3rd and 6.
I would expect him to get tricky here on this 3rd down. Is it 3rd or 2nd? The chain mark hasn't changed yet. Oh, there it goes, 3rd down. Yeah, I would expect him to get a little tricky here. Maybe a little screen, maybe a little short pass. But you could always give the ball to Oliver Johnson here.
And timeout.
Timeout, offense.
It's a timeout called by the Freedom Cowboys, their first of the half. And it'll give a chance for the Freedom Cowboys to think it over here in the 2nd quarter. Had some time to think it over. Freedom Cowboys use timeout 1 of 3. And good chance for them to think it over as TJ Lorio gets to the end zone. Another touchdown for the Freedom Cowboys.
What a great play there by the Freedom Cowboys. Just giving the ball to your playmaker and let him go. A good long run by TJ Lorio there.
Turning into a game now where touchdowns, at least the 2-point conversions after the touchdowns, are starting to become crucial. Chance to make it a 10-point lead. Johnson will just keep it. Dives for the goal line. 16-6. This year, the Freedom Cowboys, for the most part, have outscored their opponents by 20 throughout the entire 2022 campaign. For the Tennessee Heat, they've only beaten their teams by 1 point on average, 31-30.
Yeah, and obviously that's a stat that the Heat are going to want to correct starting off next year. But, yeah, like you just said, Freedom Cowboys beating their opponents average by 20. They beat Franklin Classical last week by 38, so great offensive attack here for the Freedom Cowboys.
See how the Tennessee Heat respond with this return by Luchtefeld. And Luchtefeld looking for the space, has a little bit of room, and dances out at about the 37-yard line.
Now, if you're the Tennessee Heat here, you're going to want to get the ball to your playmakers. You want to get in the end zone. You don't want to go down early by 2 scores. You're already down by 2 scores, so you got to close that gap. So I would expect to get the ball to Sutton, get the ball to Luchtenfield, maybe let Matthews sit back there in the pocket and let one go. So you can't really afford a turnover on downs or a punt here. You got to get the ball in the end zone.
First and 10. Carry for Wyatt Sutton gets tripped up behind the line of scrimmage for a loss of 3.
Obviously not how you want to start the drive. A simple little read play there by the Heat. Good job by the Freedom Cowboys to clean that one up.
In 2016, the Tennessee Heat co-opted, and around that time, as Luchtefeld goes to the left side. Again, Luchtefeld can get you yards in chunks, and that's all you really need to keep the drives going and get down to the end zone. It's now a 3rd down and 5 coming up. For the Tennessee Heat, Coach Ryan Scott took over in 2017 when they split off. They were co-opted with Hendersonville Christian, then split off into separate teams, and he essentially had to revive the program because it was on the brink of shutting down. And since then, the culture has just completely changed with Ryan Scott as at the helm for football and helping with the other sports, as Luke Matthews tries to carry it and gets back to the line of scrimmage. But now for a chance, gone to several tournaments down in Florida to compete for the chance of the national championship, and now in their first conference championship and everything. I think it's an understatement to say it's been a success story from Coach Scott.
Oh yeah, that's like you just said. He built this program from the ground up. It was not in a good place, and Coach Scott was able to revive it. You know, he's got a good thing going here. He's had a couple years ago they did really well. They've not. I don't think they've had. When's the last time they've had a losing season? I think it's been a while.
Probably 2019 or 2018, couple seasons. 2020 they had a great run. Only loss was to Evangel in both the regular season and then in the semifinal they took the loss and then couldn't play their consolation game due to COVID issues with Southern Prep, as the Heat did call a timeout here. But it's been a few seasons. It's right now they're 4-6, but with the season not over, there's still a chance for them to get past that mark.
Yeah, there is a chance, and like you just said, I think 2019 was their last losing season, which is rare for the Tennessee Heat. They don't have losing seasons most often. That's pretty rare.
With motion, direct snap to Luchtefeld. He tries to get to the outside. Staying on his
there
feet,
he goes.
Aiden Luchtefeld, one of many amazing players in 8-man football history, and he's got another 6 points.
Yeah, like we've been saying, Aiden Luchtenfeld is one of the best players in 8-man football. So great design. That was about a third and manageable there, and he was able to pop one. What a great response by the Tennessee Heat there.
Again, missed the 2-point conversion earlier. They had made it. It would have been a chance to tie it up at this point to make it a 2-point game.
This game has a really different feel for the Tennessee Heat. They played. This is actually a rematch from 2 weeks ago where the Freedom Cowboys won that one, 42-13. Different energy that the Tennessee Heat is bringing up today, and it's certainly paying off for them.
Had a few weeks to adjust the mistakes, and it's a benefit with, of course, having to play your in-conference opponents in that regard and essentially clinching the #1 seed way early on for the Cowboys, and then 2 seed for the Heat. 2-point conversion attempt successful by Eli Whitaker. That makes it a 16-14 game. Freedom Cowboys are still on top, and you can hear the environment is lively here in Columbia. (16-14) with 4:47 left to go in the first half in this 2022 Southeastern Extreme Conference Championship. Spencer Thompson, Eli Cornett. Of course, got James Shannon critiquing from the other side of the booth here in Columbia, Tennessee for this first ever conference championship. And here's another chance for the Freedom Cowboys to score. Jensen MacArthur finally gets stopped at about the 31-yard line by who else? Aiden Luchtefeld. But again, you see those explosive plays from the Freedom Cowboys.
I mean, it's a great return, but I don't think you're going to get past Aiden Luchtefeld on any kickoff return. The man's he's just everywhere.
And MacArthur showing why he was selected to the All-SEEC Players team. One of several Freedom Cowboys selected for that honor. And it's explosive plays like that are why he's on the All-Conference team.
Great player on not just on special teams, but on defense as well. Plays cornerback, did really well all season. Like you just said, that's why he got those All-Conference honors.
Ball handed off, and there's TJ Lorio again.
There
Who
he
else
goes.
but TJ Lorio? Just weave through 3 guys and another 6 points for Freedom.
And that's another reason why this conference is so great. I mean, you had a defensive battle in the first quarter. None of these offense could get anything going. But now you're getting touchdown after touchdown. These teams are just trading back scores, and that's why these two teams are here today.
Of course, seems like every time the Tennessee Heat have scored, the Freedom Cowboys have had some sort of response. So now the onus is starting to get on this Heat defense to try and make some stops here. 8-point game right now. Chance again to make it a 10-point lead as they rush it up the left side. Untouched is Oliver Johnson for another 2. Make that 24-14. 4.5 left to go in the first half. Just like last night where we had number 2 and number 5 competing on the NHSA rankings, here we have for the NHSA number 3 colliding with number 14. So 2 of the top 25 teams in the nation competing on this field. And you think about it, again, the NHSA hasn't really given any major information on who's going down to the tournament or who's officially confirmed and locked in. You know, with Evangel winning their conference championship and being incredible as they are, we can justly say they're most likely going to be there as defending national champions. It looks like the ball came off the tee. They'll have someone hold it there. But you think about it, if the Tennessee Heat comes out to win this one, surely they have to be in the conversation for making it into the tournament. Freedom Cowboys have been fantastic all year. I'm sure they're likely to head down as well. But we won't know until probably tomorrow or Monday from the NHSA on which teams are officially going down.
Well, I wouldn't even say even if they win this game. I say if they put up a good fight in this game, there certainly should be a discussion for the Heat to get to Florida.
They've already put up a good fight so far as Luchtefeld gets to the 31-yard line and another set of downs. Another offensive drive for the Tennessee Heat.
Have any of the teams from last night committed to going to Florida yet, or
we are not aware. The NHSA this year has actually stayed more reserved about giving any updates or inside information. But of course, that can work both ways. It levels the playing field, so teams don't know who they have to do in-depth film study on early on. It also, makes it difficult for the coaches to accurately prepare with enough time for coaching on during the week leading up to Florida. As Luchtefeld tries to carry it, and he's brought down in the backfield by Logan Bryers.
And that's Freedom's MO. They're going to bring 4. They'll bring 5. They'll even bring 6. They're not scared to give up the passing game. They're more worried about stopping that run. There you go. I mean, you had – I didn't see what number that was. But, yeah, like I was just saying, they'll bring 4, 5, 6. They're doing anything to stop that run. That's kind of what their bread and butter is, stopping the run. They're willing to give up a little bit of a pass, but what they do, they're really good at it, and they don't shy away from it at all.
Final minutes winding down in the second quarter. Under 4 left for the first half. As they fake to Luchtefeld, Matthews looking across, overthrew his intended target of Wyatt Sutton. It brings up third down.
Looked like Sutton was open there for a moment. He just kind of Matthews stood there in the pocket a little too long for that Freedom defender to be able to get on top of that route there.
And a timeout called.
Timeout, offense.
So that will be their second timeout of the first half. The Tennessee Heat will have a chance to think it over. And you think about it as well, the Tennessee Heat get the ball to start the second half, so with them deferring. So you get to see, and especially because they stopped them on that first offensive drive, this is one of those drives where the Heat can march it down the field, run out the clock, and then take the advantage going into halftime. Not on the scoreboard unless they get the ball back, but they can at least have the momentum going into the halftime.
That's what you got to do. You got to create a steady drive, run the ball, chew some clock. The key is to not let Freedom get back on the field. You do not want the Freedom to have the football. You don't want to be down by 2 scores going into halftime. Yes, you get the ball, but you don't want to be playing catch-up for the rest of the second half. So, yeah, just like I just said, you're going to have to chew some clock, get the ball down there. I mean, the 2-point conversion isn't necessarily a given. It doesn't really matter if you make it or not. In this situation, you'll still be down by 4. But I mean, if they get it to 2-point ball game, good enough, and if they score and get the 2-point after this, when they get back from the half, it could be I believe it'll be a 4-point game. So yeah, you're just gonna have to get the ball down there and get it in the end zone.
Plenty of time to take it down the field, but conversion might be needed on this 3rd down and 14. Toss right side, Luchtefeld with the catch, trying to get the first down, plowing through 2 defenders, and there's a flag down, finally forced out of bounds at the 41-yard line. Let's check the flag maybe after the play.
Looked like a late hit.
As you see here, yeah, it looks like helmet-to-helmet contact is what that might come down to. Player safety of the essence.
Face mask on the defense.
So it was a face mask called. So that'll tack it on to the end of the run. And lucky break there as well for the Tennessee Heat. They already had the first down for a new set of downs and now automatically in Cowboys territory.
Lucky break, but Luchtenfeld went out of bounds. I know the clock stops with the penalty, but you got to stay in bounds. You want that clock to run. Oh, it looks like it's running now.
I guess they ordered it to still run. Maybe they ruled his forward progress was stopped inbounds before he stepped out.
You're going to want to stay in bounds.
As Matthews keeps it, gain of a yard.
Good little play there by Matthews, getting a yard. Yeah, but now just take your time. You got 2 minutes, and looks like you got 2:55 left on the clock. Just take your time. Don't overthink it. Just do what you do and get that ball in the end zone.
Luchtefeld, 27 receptions for 600 yards coming into the day and 5 receiving touchdowns, among many other major stat lines that Luchtefeld has gotten on the season. But on the receiving side, he's been incredible. Keeps the ball, but swallowed up by the defense. Got tackled down by Will O'Neal, the senior who essentially co-opted with the Freedom Cowboys from Riverside Christian, among several other players on the varsity level, since they're trying to field a team again. Couldn't get enough players, and
Timeout, offense.
Timeout called by the Tennessee Heat. They'll use their last timeout of the half. But for Riverside Christian, they were trying to get a varsity team this year, and it's now the second year. Of course, Travis Creasy stepping down from the head coaching position. It was left to Coach Matt O'Neal to take the reins, and they tried to get enough players for the 2021 campaign and couldn't field a varsity team. Their middle school program has been doing fantastic, but it's just a sign with how close Fayetteville and Huntsville are. The Freedom Cowboys are a great opportunity, and you've seen Will O'Neal be incredible throughout the season.
Yeah, Will O'Neal is another name that you're going to be hearing a lot this afternoon. Another great player, but like you just said, yeah, I mean, depending on what Riverside does in the next coming seasons, Riverside is going to be a great pipeline for the Freedom Cowboys to get a lot of great young players.
And plenty of time for the Heat to work with on a 3rd and 12 again.
You got a 3rd and long here. You got to think they're going to be passing the ball. And I would think this is 4-down territory as well.
With motion. Looking toss right. Tried to get it recepted there and incomplete. Great breakup coverage by Gavin Maynard. As tried to catch it there and it's incomplete, brings up 4th down.
Just a little RPO action there, a little slant across the middle. Great play by Maynard there, breaking up the pass, not letting them get at least, looked like it would have been 4 or 5 yards on that pass, but not still 4th and 12. Looked like the Heat are going for it here.
Saw that trend last night as well for the CFA championship. Teams, when they're across midfield, they go for it on 4th down instead of trying to do a pin deep punt. And with motion,
they're going to throw to Luchtenfeld here.
Yep, throw it to Luchtenfeld and wasn't looking for the quick toss. Raised one hand, couldn't get it, and a turnover on downs.
That's really unfortunate for the Heat. You've given Freedom a minute 59 on the clock to go ahead and get some going. I mean, if you're the Heat here, you gotta really rely on your defense here to step up and stop this Freedom's offense. Freedom offense has been rolling all game, so at least through the 2nd quarter. You got to shut them down and get to halftime. Just tell your guys, settle down, play Heat football, and just try to get into the locker room for the end of the 1st half.
Maybe even get a big defensive stop if they can. Maybe defensive turnover. 1st and 10. Hand off again. Right side, another big rush. Trying to get to the 1st down marker. Will get 7 yards. Tristan Martone again.
A lot of broken tackles there. A lot of missed tackles there by the Heat. That's a key thing. You can't miss tackles if you're the Heat. The Freedom have a lot of big guys. You got to hit them low and get them down to the ground. Otherwise, they're just going to run over you. You got to really break down and really make that tackle, or they're just going to hurt you.
There's another big carry. You saw a splash there. Who else again but Tristan Martone with a big gain going to the 29-yard line.
Looks like the Freedom is giving a really heavy dose of Martone here. Martone, another great guy. I know we talked about him earlier. Another great player for the Heat, or for the Freedom Cowboys. I mean, here it's 1st and 10 with a minute 25. You're either going to get a dose of Laurie, Johnson, or Martone here. Freedom coming out in that Twins right wing set.
About 84 ticks left on the 2nd quarter.
Here comes that motion. They're probably going to run it. Yep, there it goes.
TJ Lorio yet again trying to get through the defense. Brought down from behind this time by Eli Whitaker.
I mean, when they run that motion with TJ Laurie, he's going to motion from the slot. Like I said earlier, he's going to go from the slot to the running back spot. Usually they're going to run it across like a simple read play. Both guards are going to pull, try to kick out that end, and that linebacker and try to get to the 2nd level like they're doing right here.
Left side, Lorio again. So dangerous on the left side. One man to beat, and he won't beat Luchtefeld. 1st and goal for the Cowboys.
53 seconds. Look like the clock stopped. So if you're Freedom here, you can take your time, get the play call in. I mean, if you're the Heat right now, you got to be. I mean, how many timeouts does the Heat have left? It looks like they
used them all. And final timeout of the half used by the Freedom Cowboys. Actually, looked like they used 2 and 3.
I mean, that's a break for the Heat. They're getting the ball run right down their throat. I mean, take this. You have to really take this time out to make adjustments. I mean, you've gotten a dose of Martone, Lorio, and not really much of Johnson, but you got to shut that running game down. They've been playing a 4-man front for the most of the game, but you really have to get your linebackers to fill those gaps. If you don't fill those gaps and you arm tackle, I mean, there's really nothing you can do with the big bodies of the Freedom Cowboys.
Again, Coach Collins in his 17th season.
That's crazy.
We had last night with Jacksonville Thunder, the only coach in the program's history, was there for 29 years.
Man, some of these coaches, I mean, they either get an opportunity to get another job, but I mean, it's hard to leave a program so much. There goes Johnson.
Yep. Oliver Johnson, no surprise there. Another touchdown for the Freedom Cowboys.
Just a straight QB power there, just right up the middle. I mean, you got 43 seconds here. It's looking like it's going to be either a 16 or 18-point ball game at the end of the half. You really got to shut the Freedom down on this 2-point conversion here.
Right now, a 16-point game, which would feasibly make it 2 possession. And Oliver Johnson
Same thing.
knocks it in. 18-point game. 3 touchdowns required now.
You would think they would know what's coming on that 2-point conversion. They've run that QB power every single time they've gone for a 2-point conversion. You got to really make that adjustment in halftime. You got to shut these guys down on that 2-point conversion. I'm actually shocked because when they played us last week, they would go a little tight bunch set to the boundary over there, and they run a little switch pattern over there. But it looks like they've gone away from that. I mean, it looks like what they're doing now is working. So if you're the Heat here, you got 43 seconds. Obviously, you got time that's going to come off the clock because of the kickoff, but you got to get the ball in Luchtenfield's hand. You got to get out of bounds, manage the clock, hopefully get a score here. Don't do anything too rash. You don't need a turnover here, then you'll be down by 3 scores. Well, you're already down by 3 scores.
Down by 3 scores, halftime coming up here in the Southeastern Extreme Conference Championship. First ever championship and first ever season coming to a close here for the new conference. As this will go to the left side, and this time it stays all the way into the back of the end zone for a touchback. Long distance for the Tennessee Heat to march down if they want to score before they get the ball back to start the second half.
Yeah, you're going to have to put a really quick drive together, a little 2-minute drill here for the Tennessee Heat. 43 seconds left. You got to think they're going to get Luchtenfeld the ball here, or Whiteside. We've heard his name a lot.
You think Luchtenfeld, Wyatt Sutton. You can even get it to one of the guys like Danilitis. You could even get it to, as they've got options.
Jacob Smart's another guy they haven't gotten the ball today. He's been really quiet. He's had a great year all year.
Speaking of which, Smart in motion as they toss to the right side. Tried to get the better and out of bounds. It was intended for Danilitis.
Great job for Matthews to stand in there in the pocket just to get that ball away. You don't want to take a sack. You certainly don't want to cause a turnover. Just get that ball out of bounds. And don't give Freedom the ball back with 37 seconds left. Look for the Heat to go in their stack set here. They'll go stack set to the right or left.
You mentioned Jacob Smart. He has been quiet but not on the year. 8 catches for 207 yards, 2 receiving touchdowns.
Look for Luchtenfeld out here out wide to the left, to the right. Good one-on-one matchup here for the Heat. He's looking that way.
Looking for Luchtenfeld, and it passed it out of bounds again.
I mean, it's a 3rd and 10 still. Just get the ball to Luchtenfeld. Get the ball out of bounds, obviously, but, you got to get something going here. You're down by 3 scores. Yes, you get the ball back, but you got to think. You got to come up with something.
And you wonder if it's possibly some miscommunications on the routes there, because that's the second time he's looked towards the corner. And now a 3rd and 10.
Looked like a false start there.
Possibly. Matthews incomplete. Wyatt Sutton, the intended receiver, and now 4th down. And the clock is still running with it being an incomplete pass.
Yeah, they got to stop that clock.
Down to 16. You wonder if they're going to.
Looks like it was about 20 seconds when the play died.
Maybe 20 or 20, maybe 26 at least when we stopped it up here. But
now this is crucial. You got Oliver Johnson back deep here for the Freedom Cowboys. You want to kick this ball out of bounds or at least away from him, because then you could be down by 4 scores. You don't want that if you're the Heat. Kick it out of bounds.
I believe the officials are fixing that right now with the game clock, because they did see it go down.
27
so
seconds.
So they put it back to 27. Good job and good spot there.
That wind's really picking up. You got to think that may affect the punt here. Oh, they're coming after it.
They definitely will. You see it hardly
Oh,
go
don't
that
touch it.
far.
Don't touch. There you go.
Down to the 39-yard line. It's best a punt you could have in those conditions. And 19 seconds for the Cowboys to potentially do more damage here.
I would think they would. I mean, why not? It's a championship game. You're up by 3 scores. Obviously, you don't want to make a mistake. But, I mean, the Freedom Cowboys are known to gamble in big games. They're not afraid to take a shot. I would look for Oliver Johnson to get the ball here. Coming out in.
And
Timeout, offense.
so that was the final timeout for the Freedom Cowboys of the half. They had one more.
See, I thought he had already used his last one.
Yeah, the scoreboard indicated it was one timeout there, but now they've used their last one there. But you got so many options for the Freedom Cowboys on offense here. Which one do you give it to?
I think you go with Oliver Johnson. He's your senior. He's your quarterback. He's your leader. He's gotten you to this point, so I'd just feed the ball to Oliver Johnson. But obviously, like you said, you've got Martone, you've got Lorio, but I would expect Oliver Johnson to get the keeper here. 2 other names we haven't really heard. You got number 32, Elijah Appleton, and also 33, Logan Byers. He's their guys.
Yeah, Logan Byers called a couple of times where he's been involved on the defensive side, but offense has just been 2-3 different
Watch
guys.
the option here. Oh, little reverse action.
Pitch back to the who else but TJ Lorio. Again, when he's on that left side, he's dangerous. Finally stopped down at the 27.
They're going to go fast. Oh, they don't have any timeouts, looks like.
Yeah, and they do stop it for the first down marker, so they're going to have to hurry up and snap the ball here as they will run the clock. And
looks like it's going to half.
Yeah, they got to snap.
Oh, they're still running the ball.
They're trying to. They spiked it, and there is a flag down.
It looked like it might have been an offsides.
Mike off, but it was a false start ruled. And they're talking about how many seconds to add on here because it looked like they may have spiked it. I know in the NFL they have the 10-second runoff if it's an offensive penalty. They ruled at the end of the first half in that case. So 24 minutes gone in the first half of the Southeastern Extreme Conference Championship of 2022. And a score of 32-14 for the Freedom Cowboys over the Tennessee Heat. So we will step aside for halftime. Should be back in about 12 minutes. Perfect time to tell you that the 2022 Southeastern Extreme Conference Championship is presented by Goolesby & Young. Jason Goolesby and J.D. Young of Blackwell Realty bring knowledge, passion, excellence, and experience to the table when it comes to real estate. With millions in sales this year already, the two would love the opportunity to put their skills to work for all of Middle Tennessee. Yes, you can buy. Yes, you can sell. And yes, they can help. Reach Jason Goolesby at 615-784-8687 and J.D. Young at 615-486-1121. Sponsored by Complete Wealth Management and Complete Real Estate, your one-stop shop for financial coaching and asset management. Fairlife Core Power Protein, Work Hard, Recover Harder, by Brett Atkinson with Weichert Realtors, the Realty Group, and by Sutton Pools, fiberglass pools done right. You can reach Brian Sutton at 931-624-4027. Start of the second half for the 2022 Southeastern Extreme Conference Varsity Football Championship. 32-14. Freedom Cowboys managed to punch a score in before the end of the first half, and looks like a little bit of an onside kick to start the second half.
Oh, fumble.
Lost the football, and the Freedom Cowboys recovered it. Successful with the recovery by Jalen Venter, the freshman.
And that's not how you want to start the game if you're the Heat. I mean, you got it. I know it's wet conditions outside, but you really got to hold on to that football. You just gave you just gave the Cowboys another extra possession, and they've shown they can put it in the end zone time and time again. So if you're the Heat defense, you really got to get a stop. You're down by 3 scores. So I mean anything can happen in 8-man football, as we know over the years. But I mean, right now it's not looking good for the Heat.
So now the Heat, they had the opportunity to get the ball back, maybe have a reasonable chance to make it back, and now
You're about to get that option play. Oh,
defense
QB
can't
power.
make a stop here. It'll be tough, but first they got to get Oliver Johnson down, and they have to force him out of bounds at the 33-yard line, and already the Freedom Cowboys go deeper into Heat territory.
see, that's one thing that Classical, we had a problem with last week. The Heat's outside backers or DNs are crashing inside. That's allowing Officer Johnson to get around the edge right there. He just goes right through the middle.
There's Oliver Johnson going again for a gain of 9 yards.
But like I just said, those DNs are crashing inside, so that's allowing Oliver Johnson to get around the edge and pick up a nice gain there. Right there, just the play that just happened, he just ran right up the middle. I believe that was number 33 that got that block on that linebacker.
Second and 1. There's another carry. Lorio, first down.
Another great carry by Lorio. He's had a really good game. I believe he's had 2 or 3 touchdowns so far. I think it's been 2. I mean, we've seen a lot of Lorio. A great defensive player, but also a really good underrated offensive player as well for the Freedom Cowboys.
There's another one. Another Tristan Martone carried ball for a gain of 2 yards, as again the Freedom Cowboys keeping the rush going. Looks like a Tennessee Heat player is down, so an injury timeout here.
Injury timeout.
And we will step aside as the Tennessee Heat look at another fortunate injury. Second one today for the Heat. Fortunately, the casualties just continue for the Tennessee Heat. You have another player go down.
This is a bad look for the Heat. Yep, there's that gap right there.
Another gap, another gain of yardage for Oliver Johnson as he gets it up for about a 3rd down and 5.
See, I don't understand what the Heat are doing right there. They're spacing their D-line out. You want to fill all those gaps, A-gap, well, both A-gaps and both B-gaps. If you let Oliver Johnson get free of one of those holes, he's going to take it to the house. If you're the Heat, you got to close that down. You can't allow Oliver Johnson or Martone or Lorio to get through those holes. The O-line's doing a great job today, really dominating the Heat defensive line.
There's another handoff. TJ Lorio finds
there
the
he goes.
space. There are
Oh,
flags
it's coming
down.
back.
Flags down, and looks like this is going to come back.
Still, even if it's coming back.
Block in the back on the offense.
So lucky break there for the Tennessee Heat as they couldn't get the stop on Lorio.
I mean, even though there was a penalty, the Heat get bailed out, but still, you got to break down and make that tackle. Lorio, Mortone, and Oliver Johnson are showing that they can break tackles. You really got to go back to the basics. What your coaches have taught you in summer camp, spring ball, breaking down every tackle drill you've gone through, you have to bring it right here. It's 9:58 left to go. You're down by 3 scores. You got to put everything on the table. Everything you've learned has to be right here. This drive is really pivotal for the Heat.
Officials winding for the clock to go.
This is not a good look. They got 2 men on the line. Looks like they're going some sort of 2-3-3. Looks like almost a prevent defense, which is not going to work against this Freedom offense. Well,
3rd and
pass
15.
the ball.
Toss right side.
Well, I guess I
Intercepted.
was wrong. Man.
Interception by the Tennessee Heat. That's picked off by, I believe, Samuel Hill. Beg your pardon. That is Levi Ashburn, the freshman, who gets the interception, and the Tennessee Heat turn it over.
I mean, my fault on that. I mean, they showed a prevent defense. I mean, the Freedom's been so run heavy that I didn't think they were going to pass the ball there. Great play by who was that again?
That was the freshman Levi Ashburn.
Well, great play by Levi Ashburn. The Heat finally get something going off the turnover. First turnover for the Freedom Cowboys today.
And Levi Ashburn's first interception of the season comes in the right moment, especially because they couldn't do anything on that opening drive. A pitch in the backfield to Luchtefeld, trying to get one man to beat, and he's forced out of bounds. That seems to be what the Freedom Cowboys defense is doing anytime Luchtefeld gets the ball, because you can't really stop him, and he's in the middle of the field, so force him to the outside.
You can't stop him going inside. You can't, I mean, they're doing a great job stopping an outside. Those DNs and outside linebackers are doing a great job containing Luchtefeld. He's still getting 8-9 yards of carry, but if you're the Heat, you got to find a way to get him out in open space. He did a great job on that first touchdown, but you got to get him in open space, and hopefully he busts one for you.
Gain of 8 yards for Luchtefeld on a 2nd and 2. Motion again. If the option there, Matthews is going to keep it. He'll gain a few yards down to about the 38-yard line.
Great powerful run there by Luke Matthews. Way to get the first down, keep the chains rolling. I mean, the Heat, they've got something going. Oh, it looks like Matthews is hobbling here a little bit.
Which hopefully that's just a temporary thing, as Jaden Hobgood will go out for the Heat. Yeah, you're seeing Matthews hobble there.
He's in a lot of pain.
That is not a good sign. You can see he's trying to push through it for his team, knowing the stakes.
Now look at this. You see that the Heat the Freedom Cowboys have 4 men in the box. They're either going to bring 4. They're probably they're bringing 3. See, they're dropping him.
Deep toss left side and incomplete, out of bounds, intended for Jacob Smart. You know, a guy we talked about who wasn't really mentioned throughout the game. They're targeting him a little bit now and putting him on the outside, but that one just thrown too far.
Great effort by Jacob Smart, but you got to think that hit that Luke Matthews took a little bit a while ago, that might be affecting his passing.
Again, you know, Jacob Smart, he has 8 catches for 207 yards, mentioned it earlier, 2 receiving touchdowns.
Here comes that stack set.
Matthews under pressure, gets the pass off, a good screen, and that reception there by Levi Ashburn as he gets a gain of about 5 yards.
Levi Ashburn, the guy who had the interception a couple plays ago for the Heat, rewarding him with a little pass there.
Gained 6 yards on there. Spotted at the 43-yard line for a 3rd and 4.
Pivotal down here for the Heat, but, I mean, you're down by 3 scores. You got to think it's 4 down territory. Looks like the Freedom Cowboys may come after this one. They only bring 3.
Here's Luchtefeld again, trying to find some space on the edge. First down and a little bit more as he gets forced out of bounds. The contact and tackle made there by Jensen MacArthur as the Heat marched across midfield.
Great play designed by Coach Scott there. I mean, it's 3rd down, pivotal down for your offense. You got to give your playmakers the ball and let them work. Great play by Luchtefeld, keep the chains going. Looks like the clock is still rolling. Looked like he got pushed out of bounds. I don't know why the clock is still going. But again, great play by Luchtefeld, getting to the edge, hitting the sideline and just going.
Again, 18-point game, down by 3 scores. Tennessee Heat, you mentioned it, likely 4th down territory from here on out. As they hand it off again up the middle. Carry there for the Heat's Wyatt Sutton coming in today had 35 carries for 135 yards and gets a carry there for a gain of 4.
Heat with a second and medium here. They're going to have to, looks like they're going with that stack set. Look for Luchtenfeld to get the ball, or you look, there, Jacob Smart's there one-on-one on number 20 down there. You could get a one-on-one matchup, maybe a back shoulder type of deal.
And looks like encroachment. False start, they got him.
Dead ball, encroachment on the defense.
Got encroachment there.
So that brings up a second and looks like 2 for the Heat.
And you see on these kind of plays, especially when they get him for 5 yards on that, it changes the whole dynamic of what you call there, especially because you know Luchtefeld can get you essentially 5 yards anytime he touches the ball.
He can, but it looks like he's not out there right now from what I can see. Looks like Jacob Smart's down here to the bottom. That's number 16.
Yeah, Luchtefeld not out there. Little screen toss, and there's Jacob Smart. Flag is down on the backside.
Looks like a late hit.
Roughing the passer on the defense.
So with that roughing the passer, another lucky break for the Tennessee Heat, as I believe they will tack that on to the end of the play. Brings it just outside the red zone on the 21.
I mean, if you're Freedom here, you got to settle down. I mean, the Heat, they're gaining momentum on this drive. You got to settle down. Go back to what you know. Don't do anything unnecessary. Your defense has played, for the most part, fantastic throughout this game. You gotta settle down and do your job, and hopefully it pays off for them.
1st and 10.
There comes that motion again.
And who else but Luchtefeld got the ball, spins out of a tackle inside the red zone to the 19.
Great play by Laurier there, getting in there and tripping up Luchtefeld, not able for him to get something going.
Senior Pierce Dalton made the tackle.
See, one thing about the Freedom Cowboys is they have a lot of guys on their squad, but they also play the same 8 to 11 guys on offense and defense. So the crazy part about this team is they're able to play both ways, and they don't seem to get tired, Spencer.
You're not really seeing any signs of fatigue from either side. Quick screen toss, catch is made, and Danilitis will get about to the line to gain, maybe just short.
Looks like it's going to be a 3rd and inches here.
Just shy of the first down marker, 3rd and inches.
You got 4:27. The clock is running. It's 3rd and inches. Give the ball to Luchtefeld. I mean, he's been your workhorse all year. Give it to the senior, the guy who's gotten you to this point. Give the ball to Luchtefeld. Get him. He can certainly get a yard, if not anything else.
3rd and inches. Luchtefeld on the left side.
He's back on that stack set. Here he comes in motion.
Motion there. Fake it to Luchtefeld.
There goes
Matthews will keep it 1st down. And how about a little bit more? Just shy of the goal line. No touchdown.
I mean, great run by Matthews. He looked a little short. They're waving it off.
And they did overrule it. It is short of the first down. You could see that kind of on our angle that his knee was down just shy of the goal line. Regardless of 1st and goal,
Great play.
maybe easily just give it to Luchtefeld. He can run it right in.
Looks like Luchtefeld is back there.
Luchtefeld or Matthews, one of the two.
Even with Matthews hobbled, he still got that gain. What a great play.
Direct snap to Luchtefeld.
Looks like he got in.
Waiting for the
don't
signal.
know. That's close.
No signal yet.
From where I'm standing, looks like Luchtenfeld's down.
Not what you want to see here this late in the game. officials' timeout there. So Luchtefeld is down. And to our knowledge, it is short of the goal line, but we will step aside and hope that Aiden Luchtefeld is doing okay. And not a good sign, unfortunately. You see Aiden Luchtefeld being carried off there. They're checking to see if he could stand on his own feet. Certainly hoping everything's okay. We'll give you an update as we can. Now the Heat losing one of their star players as Matthews tries to push through to the goal line. Touchdown.
Good play by Wesley Matthews, getting in there, hard-nosed football. You got to think, how is this Heat team going to respond from that adversity they just faced from losing you could argue, their best player? You got to think, are they going to come out fighting, swing, or are they going to lay down? But obviously by that play, they're coming out, they're intense.
Regardless of the outcome of this two-point conversion attempt, it is a two-score game now. And they trying to make it at least a 10-point game. Direct snap, trying to push up the middle, and the Freedom Cowboys.
Didn't get it.
They will rule him short. Stopped with the forward progress, 32-12. The Freedom Cowboys still lead here over the Tennessee Heat, and you certainly hope everything is okay for Aiden Luchtefeld right now.
Obviously.
And they are looking at him on the bench.
I mean, obviously, you hate to see that from a special player getting hurt like that. Obviously, he may have aspirations to go play at the next level, and that's something you really don't want to happen to a guy like that. Hopefully, he's okay. Our prayers are up for him. You just hate to see that.
And you can also see the mutual respect that Coach Collins and Coach Kevin Goekman had, where they even walked over when he was down on the field to check and make sure he was okay. You always interact with a lot of coaches with that mutual respect. They see talent when they see him. We even talked with Coach Collins, Coach Goekman beforehand, and he was talking about we need to stop number 7. You could tell the amount of respect, and they know what he brings to the table.
I mean, Coach Collins he's a class act. I mean, that whole coaching staff, he's got something good going here. Hopefully, him and his Cowboys can end it.
Asher Albritton, the freshman, booting it away. As Lorio is back to receive, as this will go out of bounds at about the 5-yard line. And free kick out of bounds. And they will spot this. Last time they spotted it at the 35-yard line. I believe likely they'll follow suit. And Freedom Cowboys will be back on offense here as they lead by 12. And now when you have big injuries like that with some of your star players, it can go one of two ways. It can be a positive to the team as motivation for them to finish strong and come back and win the game, or it can be a crushing blow. And this next drive will determine for the Tennessee Heat whether it's on one of those spectrums. You certainly hope that it is a positive reinforcement.
I mean, you would hope. You just never know. I mean, it really depends on the resiliency of your football team. These guys, the Heat, they're a young group, losing their senior captain. Oh, here goes Lorio.
There goes T.J. Lorio. Matthews trying to chase him down, and T.J. Lorio to the outside. Touchdown, Freedom Cowboys.
Just a standard read there by Oliver Johnson, giving it off to Lorio. Great job by Lorio hitting the sideline and getting going. Again, the defensive ends for the Heat keep crashing inside. That's what's allowing Lorio to get outside. Not just Lorio, but Martone and Johnson. They're getting outside, hitting that sideline. They're taking it to the house every time. If you're Coach Scott and the Heat coaching staff, you have to tell your defensive ends to stay on the outside contained. Stay outside contained. That frees up your linebackers to get to the runner and stop him for a line of gain.
Two-point conversion attempt, pushing to the goal line is Oliver Johnson. Make that 40-20, now a 20-point advantage here for the Freedom Cowboys, looking to try and claim their first ever conference championship in their program history, as they will boot it away here back to the Tennessee Heat, who, fortunately, if you're just joining us, Aiden Luchtefeld tried to push to the goal line for a touchdown and looked very dangerous the way it came down on, I believe, his left leg. And
I believe the cart's coming for him right now.
And they got the golf cart coming over, and he's just on the bench. You can see the golf cart in the background. Where he is on the bench is right where the golf cart is now, and certainly hope everything is okay for Aiden Luchtefeld.
Now, if you're the Heat here, you have to, now that you don't have Luchtenfeld, you're going to have to rely on Matthews. You're going to have to rely on Smart. You're going to have to rely on Sutton. Like we've said earlier in the broadcast, Jacob Smart's been really quiet. He's had that one screen pass, but you're going to have to find a way to get him the ball with Luchtenfeld out of the game.
It's picked up in the backfield for the return, a turn of a couple yards. Looked like that was Luke Luchtefeld, his younger brother, who took the carry there, and first and 10 on the 30 is where this drive will start out.
Now, you're down by 3 scores. You got 2:20 left in the third quarter. Don't be afraid to pass the football. Get something going downfield. You already have your starting running back out of the game. Get the ball rolling. Pass the ball around. Maybe a little short plays. Nothing too serious. No shot plays as of right now. But you got to be in a little bit of a hurry if you're the Tennessee Heat, down by 3 scores with about 14-20 left in the ball game.
Motion. They'll pitch it in the backfield. It's picked up, a carry here by Wyatt Sutton, who gets about to the line to gain, maybe just shy. They'll rule it a 2nd down and 1.
Good little chunk play there by the Heat. A good little, looked like the slot guy came in motion and cracked that D, and that allowed the running back to get around the edge and get a good, looks like 8 yards. This is
Tennessee Heat have not led once throughout the championship. Incomplete, intended for Eli Whitaker.
Now, if you notice the Freedom, well, he's coming out now, but looks like Freedom has a young guy in number 43. Can we look to see who that is?
The Freedom Cowboys, that's 43, the freshman Hershey Sterling.
Now, from all the film I've seen of the Freedom Cowboys, I haven't seen him play that much. If I was Coach Scott, I would attack right at him. Looks like he's playing that safety position to the boundary. You got to attack that.
3rd and 2. Motion again. Bad snap there, and a tackle for loss in the backfield. T.J. Lorio there to make it a 4th down and 10.
Just a bad snap there by the center for the Heat. But good job for Matthews to get on it. Still a lot of game left. You got a whole 13 minutes left. But if I'm the Heat, you got to get it away from this guy right here.
Heat will punt it away and almost blocked there by Lorio as the punt does go off, and Oliver Johnson declines to return it, with the bounce going all the way to the 36 and a half as we have 46 seconds left to go in the 3rd quarter.
Now, if you're the Heat, again, you got to get off the field. You can't allow Freedom to get another score here. You're already down by 3 touchdowns. I mean, the offense 2 drives ago showed that they can get the ball in the end zone, but that was before Luchtenfeld went down. So, I mean, you just got to get a stop here. You can't allow Martone, Loria, or Johnson to get out in space. But another guy for the Freedom Cowboys that's really been quiet has been Maynard. He's one of their deep threat guys here on the outside. He hasn't had a lot of targets today.
See if he gets any targets here on this drive. Gavin Maynard is very quiet today. 1st and 10. They'll hand it off up the right side. Who else but Tristan Martone trying to get past the last guy, brought down at the 35-yard line by Jacob Smart. And another big game for the Freedom Cowboys as they get inside the 35.
Yet again, the same thing. Martone hits that edge, and he keeps going. Looks like there's a player down. He's walking off for the Freedom Cowboys.
That's Logan Bryers, who was shaken up there, and talked to Coach Collins. Looked like he's all right, but he does, because he was down for a while, does have to come out for at least one play.
Looks like he's cramping. Oh, he did?
I'm hearing up in the booth that it looks like he got twisted, so now the medical staff looking at him, at least able to stand on his own feet and get over to the sideline.
Well, that's kind of a key loss for the Freedom Cowboys. He's their wing guy. He's the guy that sets that edge and lets Johnson, Martone, and Lorio get outside. He's their key guy when it comes to that wing position.
And that is going to bring us to the end of the 3rd quarter. A 20-point lead for the Freedom Cowboys here in the 2022 Southeastern Extreme Conference Championship over the Tennessee Heat. 12 minutes until one team claims their first conference championship. Perfect time to remind you that this game is presented by Goolesby and Young. Jason Goolesby and J.D. Young of Blackwell Realty bring knowledge, passion, excellence, and experience to the table when it comes to real estate. With millions in sales this year already, the two would love the opportunity to put their skills to work for all of Middle Tennessee. Yes, you can buy. Yes, you can sell. And yes, they can help. Reach Jason Goolesby at 615-784-8687 and J.D. Young at 615-486-1121. Sponsored by Complete Wealth Management and Complete Real Estate, your one-stop shop for financial coaching and asset management. By Fairlife Core Power Protein, work hard, recover harder. Brett Atkinson with Weichert Realtors, the Realty Group. And by Sutton Pools, fiberglass pools done right. You could reach Brian Sutton at 931-624-4027. Started the 4th quarter here as you hear the track The Boys of Fall playing. 12 minutes remaining in this state championship for the Southeastern Extreme Conference. Spencer Tomset, Eli Cornett bringing you the action here on 8-Man Extreme from Zion Christian Academy in Columbia, Tennessee, and what's been all Freedom Cowboys. And it continues to be all Freedom Cowboys as who other than Oliver Johnson to take it to the end zone. Another touchdown.
Just another read play by Oliver Johnson. Great job of that tight end kicking out that defensive end, allowing Oliver Johnson to go right through the middle for another Freedom score.
Flag down and unsportsmanlike conduct. I believe it will be enforced on the kickoff, and it's against the Tennessee Heat.
Little frustration there from the Heat. Obviously, they lost their heart and soul in Aiden Luchtenfeld, so you got to think their emotions are running high right now. They've worked really hard to get to this point, and right now things not going their way. So best thing you can tell your guys is to keep your cool, play just to keep your head and not to cause anything chippy. Just try to play the rest of the game, play your hearts out, because right now for these seniors for the Heat, they only got 11:52 left. So enjoy every second of football you have left and don't go out with anything like that.
2-point conversion attempt. Trying to make it a 48-20 game. And up the middle, Oliver Johnson, among many others on the Freedom Cowboys, make it look easy.
Another QB power. They've done that every single 2-point conversion, and it's worked every single time. You would have thought the Heat would have made some sort of adjustment going into halftime with that play, but it looks like the Freedom Cowboys still capitalize on that.
Of course, Aiden Luchtefeld, he's, even with the injury, he's still at all Southeastern Extreme Conference team awards. Him, Dustin Danilitis, Jeremiah Curtis, and Eli Whitaker. Those honors for the Tennessee Heat for Freedom Cowboys. Oliver Johnson, Tristan Martone, Gavin Maynard, Pierce Dalton, and Jensen MacArthur. All of them getting those honors. And be sure to stick around after this. We'll have the prize presentations on the field, including for the all-conference team players, the most valuable player of the championship here, and the trophy presentations. We'll, of course, talk with the victorious head coach and the MVP afterwards. And if the score holds here with the Freedom Cowboys, Eli, who do you give the most valuable player to?
I mean, it's a hard choice between the three guys, Martone, Lorio, and Oliver Johnson, but if it was me, I'd give it to Lorio. He's had a great game on the offensive side of the ball and defensive side of the ball. He's made a lot of key stops for the Freedom Cowboys today. But you could also argue Oliver Johnson, the heart and soul of that Freedom Cowboys offense, that senior quarterback. He's had a great game as well, running the ball. Not so much passing the ball. He's had that one interception.
So with the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, the Cowboys will kick from the 45-yard line of the Heat, and they'll go for an onside kick, and the bounce will not go their way or even past the 10-yard marker. So I believe with them touching it, it'll be at the 46-yard line. So Tennessee Heat start out with great field positioning, but
see, I don't know why you go with an onside kick there. You're already up, 4 scores. Now, if you're the Heat here, just settle down, focus on getting the ball into the end zone for a score. Get a score, get an onside kick, try to get the ball back to make it a 2-score game. But right now, doesn't look good here for the Tennessee Heat.
yeah, long hill to climb, especially with how well this defense has been performing today.
The Freedom's defense has been playing great all year. They've shut down almost everybody except for Evangel, where Evangel defeated them earlier in the year. But this Freedom team is probably, besides Evangel, at least in the SEEC conference, one of the most complete teams in this conference.
Carry for a loss, attempted there by Wyatt Sutton. And right now, unless things change, the average points that the Freedom Cowboys have allowed on the season, 20. Tennessee Heat have met that average so far.
I mean, that's crazy to see.
You know, also the average amount of points that the Freedom Cowboys have scored on the season, 40. So they're past their average at this point.
Look down here. I like this matchup with Jacob Smart down here against a little pop pass.
Yeah, pop pass and catch there as carried up. Reception made, and the Tennessee Heat will move it forward. That was Levi Ashburn with the reception.
Great little chunk play there. Middle screen right there to, I believe, what number was it, Spencer?
That was popped over to Levi Ashburn, 16.
Another great play by Levi Ashburn, getting there in a little third and short situation. Again, right here, if you see at the bottom of your screen, you have this stack set against 43 and 25 down here. I really like that matchup here. He's looking that way.
Scramble and sack. That's been the story of the game for the Freedom Cowboys defensive line and linebackers. Jalen Venter and company get credited for the sack.
Great job by the Freedom defensive line there. Getting to the quarterback. Matthews didn't really have enough time to get that ball away. Smart looked like he could have gotten open in the middle, but great job.
And certainly from here on out, it's fourth down territory on every possession, every drive for the Heat. And down by 28, a 4-possession game at this point. Likely some last gasping for air for the Heat as they air it out deep on the left side. And what a catch.
Did he get it?
Good.
Say he was out of bounds.
And, yeah, it looks like he didn't keep his feet in bounds there. It was a reception. Would have been great for Jacob Smart had he pulled it in. And obviously we can't see it from our angle up here. The official had the best vantage point over on the far side of the field, and the Freedom Cowboys will take over. Likely time for the depth chart to be very much tested for the Freedom Cowboys, as they have a lot of sophomore and freshmen and a couple 8th graders that they could give some reps to as we get later into the game.
Absolutely. I mean, these guys that you're going to be playing, going down the depth chart, these are your guys for the future. These are the guys you're going to see 1, 2, 3 years down the line, so it's great to get them some experience going into next year.
Handoff. Good carry and impressive moves here by Alex Brown, the freshman. And you're already seeing one step of that as we're talking about with the depth chart and the guys over the next several years, and got a good carry there for about 6 yards.
Alex Brown's a great young player. He actually got some carries against us last week during when it was actually close for the first about 2 quarters there. He had some great rushes. Some great rushes there. So obviously he's going to be a great asset for the Freedom Cowboys with Martone and Lorio leaving next year.
Handoff right side, another carry. Gain of 3 there for a 3rd down as the time winds down here in this first championship of the Southeastern Extreme Conference. And you think about for the Tennessee Heat side, you know, for Ryan Scott, we talked about how he took over the program and essentially revived it. It was on the brink of shutting down, but then he came in. They got the team up to speed. 2017, they had their full season, only 1 win against the Madisonville Defenders. Then 2018, they had a handful of wins, continued 2019, started building more momentum. 2020, they only had losses to the Evangel Lightning in the regular season and the national championship. And Coach Scott, after that game, mentioned they could very much win it, have won that regular season matchup. And then national championship was all one-sided for Evangel after I believe the Heat scored 1 or 2 touchdowns. But since then, it's been you know, a good building sort of mentality for the Tennessee Heat. And for them at this point, number 2 seed, get to the conference championship, man, it should be successful in that regard.
I mean, the Heat really did have a great year this year. This is a step in the right direction. I believe this is their first year in the conference, correct? So you had their first year in the conference. Number 1 seed on their side, number 2 seed overall.
And a timeout called by the Freedom Cowboys. So their first year in a conference since 2019, before they left the Middle Tennessee Athletic Conference. So at least for that regard, yeah, it's been a minute since they've been at a conference, and for them to come back, get the number 2 seed and such, and meet the average of what the defense has allowed for the Freedom Cowboys, it's been certainly, you know, the Freedom Cowboys have led the entire competition, but the Heat continue to fight here regardless of what the score is.
I mean, that's always what you want to see. You want to see your guys continue to fight throughout the game. They've had a great year, and yes, they're losing Lechtonfield. They're losing a lot of guys next year, but they're also getting a lot of young guys experience. They're going to be able to come back, compete again next year, and hopefully have a great year next year as well. But again, Spencer, like you were saying, they had a great year in 2020 when Matthew Corley and Carter Sutton and that crew did really well. And this year, this Heat team really reminded me of that team with Matthews leading the charge.
It's carry by Oliver Johnson to get the first down and brings it up to now 7:30 left to go in the game. First and 10, hand off right side, and another great carry Tristan Martone trying to get to the goal line, stopped short at about the 8. First and goal here for the Freedom Cowboys.
Another great play by Martone, getting around to the edge there. With the clock continuing to go, looks like it's going to be stopped at 7:01.
Yeah, not quite at the mercy rule standards yet.
I believe it's 38 points.
35.
35 points.
Yeah, so a touchdown and 2-point conversion would get to that threshold.
I mean, obviously, it's a devastating loss for the Heat, but you got to be happy with how your guys came out today. It was a lot more competitive.
Touchdown, Tristan Martone.
It was at least a little bit more competitive than their last meeting. Their guys really fighting, and that's what the Heat always do. They always fight to the better end. They're always, even if it's a losing season, winning season, they always fight to the end. Coach Scott has a great group of young men playing for him, a great group of coaches around him in this program. So I would be shocked if the Heat are right back here next year.
Also depends on how the landscape changes for the Southeastern Extreme Conference.
Here comes that bunch that I said about earlier.
Swatted down, 2-point conversion, no good. Pass intended for Jensen MacArthur, leaves it at 34 points. Depends also on how SEEC changes in the next year. You know, if teams get added, what players are added on each of the respective teams in the conference and everything. So you might have, you know, Franklin Classical is having a good program of what they're building right now. And you see the other teams, you know, Tri-Cities is starting to build momentum in their own regard. And, you know, other schools are starting to get some momentum. So Heat could be back here. We could also see a completely different conference championship next year. But with Freedom Cowboys, it doesn't look like it's going to be a struggle next year for them to get back.
Yeah, it doesn't look like much is going to change for the Freedom Cowboys. The Heat, you never know. But like Tri-City, they have a great group of guys that may surprise the people next year. FCS, we're building something. Coach Adams has really come in and really changed that program around. We obviously lost some key guys like Fletcher Lancaster, Max Brown, and Will Britton. But we're working towards something, so we're hopefully going to get that ball rolling. Also, another team that was really competitive toward the end was Zion. Zion is always competitive, so they're also a team that could come out and really shock some people next year. So next year, I'm really excited to come back and coach with FCS and hopefully have a really competitive year with going up against all these teams.
Squib kick there down to about the 16, picked up, and a return of about a few yards to the 25. That was a carry by Luke Luchtefeld. As the clock is running right now.
Sometimes the refs will go over to the coaches and they'll say, even if it's not 35 points, they'll go over and say, hey, do you want a running clock or do you want an actual game clock? So most likely Coach Scott either wanted a running clock or there's some sort of issue with the clock.
Yeah, they have it running here, especially with being just 1 point short of the 1 point short of the Tennessee State rule on running clocks. It's pitched back, and yeah, loss in the backfield. Wyatt Sutton nowhere to go. And you think about it for the Freedom Cowboys too. They've never competed in a conference in their 15, 20-plus year history. First time they compete in a conference title as a timeout is called by the Tennessee Heat. You think about first year success with it, and first year no major issues, completely undefeated except for their losses to the Evangel Lightning out of conference. Florida is looking pretty dangerous if the Freedom Cowboys go down.
I think Florida is going to be really interesting. You have Freedom going down, potentially maybe the Heat, depending on what happens there. But you got Freedom, you got Evangel. Am I correct if I say Ezekiel's going to be there as well?
Ezekiel Academy, well, again, as far as I'm aware, they won't. They won't be. But again, we just don't know at this point.
Okay, well, you're going to have a lot of great teams down there. So Freedom really is in the conversation to win it all. I mean, again, they've already faced Evangel once. So you could get that rematch with almost 2 months since that game, so you have a lot of preparation going into that. Again, you don't know who you're going to play week 1 or the first game throughout the 3 games, but it certainly is going to be very interesting next week.
Heat get the reps to their backup players as they continue to run the clock down. And again, for the Cowboys, on average their score winning is 40-20, and it's higher than that mark. At least their defense has done their job in holding to the average. And again, the last time that the Freedom Cowboys, other than Evangel, they took a loss was on November 6th of 2020 when they lost to the Tennessee Heat, and that was an off year for the Freedom Cowboys as well, where they where that was when the Freedom hadn't gone down to Florida for the first time in a while, and now the Freedom Cowboys just bounce it back around, and since then this will be win number 110 for the history of the Freedom Cowboys, and only 62 losses.
I mean, yes, Freedom's in the conference, but they've also played these teams before. Being an independent school, they have that. They know what they're going into when they play these teams. They know what they're going to get, unless there's a new coach or something. But they know what they're going to get. They've had experience against these teams like the Heat, and of course us, FCS. They've played us in the past as well, so you know what you're going to get.
Pretty much, the Freedom Cowboys have played a majority of the teams that have gone through MTAC and the TSIAA. I know every year that Cowboys have played Franklin Christian for the longest time. I believe they've started doing a yearly tradition with the Christian Community Colts, where it rotates every year. And Classical has been involved in that regard. So it's definitely a tradition where they play teams from Tennessee. And as an independent team, we talked with Coach Collins about it. They're willing to play anybody. There's nobody they're not willing to face. I know some teams may not, especially with how the landscape is at the national tournament. There's some teams who don't want to play Evangel, but at least for the Freedom Cowboys, they look for the chance to play them every time, especially to kind of measure where they are as a team every year.
I mean, why wouldn't they want to play anybody? I mean, look at this performance today and the performance they had last week. I mean, they're going up against teams like Evangel, and Coach Collins, he's not scared of anything. He's not going to back down from any challenge of anything. So, I mean, I wouldn't doubt next year or the year after they branch out to other schools, at least in the Southeast region.
Again, runner-up for the national championship last year. Took the loss to Evangel as they won in the semifinal last year against, I believe it was Ezekiel Academy. And the Freedom Cowboys still looking as good as ever. And if they're headed down to the national championship again this year, which they usually do every year, that's their plan. Because of being independent, it was essentially their kind of state championship in that regard, their final championship. They go down to Florida. Whoever they face, it's going to be a tough matchup. As another carry tackled there by Jacob Smart, another big carry there, but this time by Cale Carpenter, the junior.
Great rush by Carpenter. Yes, he's a junior, but he could also be a pivotal piece for the Freedom Cowboys. Another guy I may have to look out for when I'm game planning for next year. So they have a lot of guys, a lot of young guys. So we'll just see what Freedom does here with a minute 50 left. I believe, is that Martone at quarterback? Yes, it is.
They still got Tristan Martone. They're giving Oliver Johnson some relief. Martone handed it off again to Cale Carpenter. Looks like they're just going to go ahead and run out the clock, maybe take victory formation. And sure, we're going to be on Gatorade watch for Coach Collins. Yep, you already see Lorio and Johnson and Maynard headed over for it. And this Gatorade dump will certainly feel different with this being the first ever conference championship cooler dump. And second down here, another rush up the middle. Leave one more play possibly to get it down, and incredible achievement for the Freedom Cowboys. The Tennessee Heat fought hard, tried to make it to this point, and tried to make it to that mountain, but falling short this year to the team that just looked as good as ever in the 2022 campaign. And the stars on the helmets shine brightly in Columbia, Tennessee. For the first time in their program history, the Freedom Cowboys are conference champions and the first ever conference champions of the Southeastern Extreme Conference.
I mean, a great game by both teams. Obviously, great fight from the Heat, but the Freedom ultimately comes out on top. They had a fantastic year. So hopefully they can keep this thing rolling if they head on to Florida next week.
And that is going to do it for the competition. Stick around. We will have the prize presentations for the all-conference team of the Southeastern Extreme Conference and for the runner-up and championship trophy, as well as the most valuable player. So stick around. We will be right back here on 8-Man Extreme.
conference, championship game MVP, runner-up, and obviously this baby. But right off the bat, love you too, random citizen. Right off the bat, first off, I want to give a big hand to Zion Christian for hosting this game today. Top-notch job. Absolutely loved it. I want to give a big thank you. For those that don't know, I run this conference, sort of, kind of, commissioner. I want to give a big thank you to these coaches. Coach Collins, Coach Scott, Coach Boskin at Tri-Cities, Coach Bethard here at Zion, Coach Blankenship at Sacred Heart, and I'm missing somebody. Coach Adams from Franklin Classical. And they're not the representative for the teams with the conference, but these coaches have done a great job. Coach Tracy Harlow from Franklin Classical is the rep for Classical, and Coach Gochman is the rep for Freedom Cowboys. I want to give a big thank you to these 6 teams because they took a big risk. First-year conference, not really knowing what to expect, and they just jumped in head first. And it was an awesome season. I think we have clearly proven that there can be 2 conferences in Tennessee. All right? I've only got okay, so I want to give a hand to these players. Tennessee Heat's not over here yet, but I want to give a hand to the Tennessee Heat and the Freedom Cowboys on a game today. Before Spencer comes down here and hands out these awards, I've got one more thing to say. I'm going to look right at that camera. No matter what happens tonight, our champ beat your champ. Hands down. All right? So, yeah. Anyways.
You bet on us, didn't you?
No. There's another championship game tonight. No matter what happens, our champ beat their champ. All right? So, yeah. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Spencer. He's going to hand out these awards. Thank y'all so much for coming out, and y'all be safe going home.
Thank you, Commissioner. What an incredible season for the Southeastern Extreme Conference for 2022. Now time to hand out some hardware for the all-conference players. We'll start out with the Tennessee Heat. First, Aiden Luchtefeld. That's our running back for all conference. Next for quarterback, Oliver Johnson. All conference wide receiver, Gavin Maynard. Both from the Freedom Cowboys. At offensive line from Zion Christian, Riley Heitzman. From Franklin Classical School, Charles Bennett. From the Freedom Cowboys, Pierce Dalton. And from the Tennessee Heat, Jeremiah Curtis. Now for your all-conference defensive lineman. From Franklin Classical, Jude King. From the Tennessee Heat, Eli Whitaker. And from Zion Christian, Jaron Kaiser. And now your all-conference linebackers. From Zion Christian, Logan Abbott. And from the Freedom Cowboys, Tristan Martone. Your all-conference defensive backs. From Tri-Cities, Josiah Dixon. From the Tennessee Heat, Aiden Luchtefeld. And from the Freedom Cowboys, Jens MacArthur. Your all-conference kicker and punter, Will Britton from Franklin Classical. And your all-conference kick returner and punt returner from Sacred Heart, Austin Vall. And additionally, at all-conference runbacker from Franklin Classical, Fletcher Lancaster. And additionally, all-conference wide receiver from the Tennessee Heat, Dustin Danilitis. Let's give one more hand to your 2022 Southeastern Extreme Conference all-conference players. And now for your championship most valuable player, with so many great plays on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, from the Freedom Cowboys, TJ Lorio. Congratulations to the runner-up for the Southeastern Extreme Conference, the Tennessee Heat. And now for the first season participating in a conference, their first conference championship, the Freedom Cowboys. As they celebrate, let's get a word from your most valuable player, TJ Lorio. TJ, you've had an incredible season, an incredible career with the Freedom Cowboys. How can you describe this moment in words?
I mean, when I saw the list and my name wasn't on it, I was kind of questioning what was going on. So my only question is, all conference? All conference?
I'm sure there's an honorable mention. You know, the Tennessee Heat, they fought back against you guys in the second half. You stepped it up and made sure they didn't really have a comeback. What did you see in the second half that worked on the offensive and defensive side?
Wasn't my vision, it was Coach Collins. Great coaching, great coaching.
What is it like working along this group of guys? It just seems like everything works so well on the chemistry front.
Well, it's because it's not all on the field. It works off the field, too. We all spend time together, hang out, do the things friends do.
You know, the NHSA hasn't released any official word on who's going to Florida yet, but I have a feeling the Freedom Cowboys will keep up the tradition and head down there. How does it sound after this win to go to Panama City Beach next weekend?
We still got work to do.
Congratulations. And now, Coach Collins.
What's up, brother?
You know, Coach, you've been the only coach in the 20-plus year history of the Freedom Cowboys, and it's been so incredible to see how you guys performed. How is this season compared to all the others?
Yeah, I don't know that I can say how this season is compared to others because this is the most frustrating bunch of kids I've ever been around in my life. But it's been a lot of fun because these young men are lively and they test me and it's made me a better believer in Jesus. But no, I couldn't be more proud. I mean, my gosh, we're 11 and 1. I mean, at the beginning of the season, I didn't know that we'd be good enough to get here. At the middle of the season, I probably thought we weren't going to get here, and here we are.
You know, 2020 was the last time you guys took a loss other than to the Evangel Lightning, and that was against the Tennessee Heat. And going into the second half or into halftime, it looked like the Tennessee Heat were starting to challenge you. What was the message in halftime to have your guys rally and finish this out?
The message was, guys, you need to keep pushing the pedal and need to play to the standard that I know you can play at. And, you know, they got the message. And we came out and we kind of messed around a little bit in the second half, but ultimately they got together and we started playing pretty good football.
Last year in the national championship, you guys had a chance against Evangel, runners-up for the national championship. I feel like there may be a different narrative going into this season. How does it sound to potentially go back down to Florida and change history?
We're going down to take care of business, and we'll get started on that tomorrow.
You're conference champions for the first time in the Freedom Cowboys history. How does that sound?
Well, let me make sure you understand. In almost 20 years, I've never made a block, caught a pass, thrown a pass, or run the ball. It's all about the kids. When the kids are out there playing together and doing what they're supposed to do, we're pretty good. It ain't really got a whole lot to do with coaching.
Congratulations, Coach. Best of luck to you potentially next week.
Thank y'all. Hey, one more thing. And fans, let me tell you, thank you for showing up today.
Your conference champions, the Freedom Cowboys.